Hello travelers, welcome to Lorespire. Today we're reviewing Dark Envoy, a fast-paced, real-time with pause tactical RPG created by Event Horizon. There is a lot of good here, but also a bit of bad, so be sure that you stay and hear it all out. Just as an FYI, I was given a review copy of this game by Event Horizon, which I used to make this video. Now let's get into the game. Dark Envoy follows the story of two siblings, Malachi and Kayla, who live in the world of Ja'an. There is an ongoing war between the newer, more technologically superior humans and the planet's original inhabitants, the magically gifted elves. Okay, so there's nothing groundbreaking here, but it's a solid classic setup for a fantasy game. The story continues in that same kind of vein, and is done well enough to keep you interested, but is unlikely to be overly compelling or intriguing to most veteran gamers. However, this game has other areas where it truly does shine, and none of those areas shines brighter than the combat. First off, you start with 2 party members, and you will eventually get more with up to 4 party members able to participate in combat at a given time. Also, the game does support 2-player co-op. Now, I didn't get a chance to test this, of course, since I played a review build of the game, but these games are always better when played with friends, so I'm sure it'll be great. As for the combat itself, well, it's fast-paced and action-packed. Your characters are running around and auto-attacking, all while you use their numerous abilities and try to move them in and out of harm's way. Oh, and you can draw area of effects on the battlefield for certain abilities, so that is pretty cool and definitely fun. Now, there are 3 stances included that allow you a degree of control over the AI that controls your characters, and you can of course issue your own orders to the characters at any time. The pace of combat can be quite frantic if you allow it to be. However, Dark Envoy allows the player to mitigate this through use of a time-slowing feature the developers included, basically real-time with pause. But you can also, instead of pause it, slow the time down using the tab button to toggle between paused and slow. Anyways, it's pretty simple, but it adds a layer of tactical depth that just wouldn't be there otherwise, and I can honestly say that without it, this game would not be for me. In Dark Envoy, there are 5 different difficulties, included from story mode to insane, so there is something for everyone there. I played the whole way on normal difficulty, which is the recommended difficulty for experienced RPG players, and I never had a wipe outside of the prologue when I was still learning to play. Still, there were many battles that were challenging, where I had to pull out all of the tricks, as well as micromanage my party to win the day. My point is that I think normal is the optimal setting for most players to have fun and be challenged while not being overly frustrated with the difficulty. That being said, you can change the difficulty at any time during a playthrough, so feel free to test your limits and set it up as high as you can stand. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite part of an RPG, character creation. You'll start off by choosing a look for the characters. There are a good number of options here, from face to skin color to makeup to scars, tattoos, hair and eye color, everything that you would expect. Now, there aren't a ton of choices for each one, but they do look pretty good, and you should be able to get some awesome looks for your characters with what is here. Next, you'll choose your class, and there are 4 to pick from: Warrior, Ranger, Engineer, and Adept. Their starting abilities, hit points, mana, and carry weight are shown at the bottom of the screen, and the increase that they get to each of those per level is also shown. Each class has 3 subclasses that will unlock for you at level 7. On the attributes page, you can see your character's stats, and you can allocate attribute points. Each attribute affects multiple stats, and putting a point into an attribute will raise those stats a small amount. You can min-max here by subtracting points from an attribute, but each stat is needed to some degree by every class. Fortunately, you can reset your attribute points at any time, so you can make some extreme builds here, test it, and then reset if needed. You also gain larger milestone bonuses for every 5 points you put into an attribute. The last part of character creation is equipment. It's cool that Event Horizon added equipment loadouts, but ultimately they don't really matter much. This is because any class can use any equipment, and you will rapidly find replacements for most of your starting gear anyways, so I suggest taking whatever seems like the most fun and going from there. Next up, we have character advancement, which is mostly straightforward but still quite rewarding. When you gain a level, you have two menu pages you use to advance your character. The first is the attributes page, which we have already seen. The other is the skills page, which is much more interesting. On the skills page, you can choose from a wide array of activated and passive abilities that will significantly affect the way your character plays, especially once you get to level 7 and you can choose a specialization. Like attribute points, skill points can be changed at will, so feel free to try out every ability and swap them in and out whenever you like to find the build that works best for you. So we have an average story, a good character creator, rewarding character advancement, and great combat. What else is there? Well, I have to say that the cutscenes and voice acting aren't great. I mean, the voice acting is actually fine, but that's it, just fine. The cutscenes are also fine, but the voice acting and the cutscenes do not sync up properly much of the time, and the dialogue captioning can also be a bit off. It didn't bother me that much, but it is something that I want to make everyone aware of. Town hubs are functional and allow you to quickly do what you need to do, like advance the story, buy and sell gear, and work on crafting and enchanting so that you can get back to the action where the game really shines as quickly as possible. Yes, you heard right. There is crafting and enchanting, and there is even tech tree research to be done. The end of this video will link to videos where I go more in depth on these things, but just know for now that they are straightforward, rewarding, and the game is better for having them. Anyways, I think that we hit everything of significant importance here, so I hope now that you have a better understanding of the game and can make an informed decision about it. Thanks so much for your support, and remember to like and subscribe if this helped you out. This has been Chris with Lorespire. Have a great day and be well, my friends.